How y'all doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everyone around the world. How are y'all doing today? I'm your favorite friendly neighborhood beer bro, Mr. Kennedy, and I am joined once again by the most beautiful woman in the world, both inside and out.
Thank
Smart,
you, Ken.
smart and laid back, illustrious Kelsey Fearless. How are you today?
Oh, I'm excellent. How are you today, Ken? How are you today?
Well rested. I'm actually pretty good.
Oh, that's good. That's excellent to hear.
How's everybody doing today? Welcome today to episode 27 of
27.
the Hot
Holy
Takes
shit.
podcast. Yeah,
We're going.
27 shows and going strong.
That's
We got a
crazy.
we got a lot for y'all today. But first, before we get into anything, I just want to throw this out here. I'm gonna pop it up on my screen here. Give me 1 second. I just want to throw a heavenly happy birthday to my grandfather, my dad's dad. Um,
Ooh.
Pop up as we called him. Put up on my stream. That's a picture of both of my grandparents
Oh
when they were
my.
young. That's my
Wow. What
granddad right
year is
there.
that?
I have no idea, but
I have
considering
no
it's
idea.
in black,
That's beautiful. Yeah, I was gonna say, wow.
yeah, those that's my grandma and my granddad. Those are my dad's parents.
Wow.
And I just wanted to real quick do a little bit of reminiscing. I'm not going to take that long.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Get started. 1 second. I'm listening.
If I had to describe my granddad, he would probably be like he was a rugged man. He was tough, but he had a big heart. So he took care of his family. He was there for my aunts and uncles. He watched them grow. Then he watched them have kids and watched us all become adults. And then he got to see some of his great grandkids.
That's
So
crazy. That's a legacy.
definitely he lived into his 80s. So
That's a good life.
I'm a wrestling fan because of him, because he was the one that got
Yeah.
us both into wrestling. And my brother and I, we would watch all the pay-per-views and stuff. And I just want to say happy birthday. One thing that he said to me that I keep close to the vest that I'll never forget. This is before his mind started to go and he started to forget us. He said out of all of his grandkids that I was the one he never had to worry about.
Well, that's
And
good. Uh,
that, that was the last thing that he said to me before, like I said, before his mind started to go, because his memory started to go. So
that
but
never had to worry about you, Ken. That's
yeah, that was
good.
somewhere around here. I think in my box of important papers, I still have the last birthday card that he gave me years ago. But yeah, happy birthday, granddad, and I
Yeah.
hope that you're proud of the man that I became.
Oh, I'm sure he has, Ken. No worries about that. Happy birthday.
Yes, yes. But yes, we got a lot for y'all today. It's heavy Nintendo news because that's
Yeah, it
all
is.
that seems to be out here today.
Well, no one's moving but Nintendo, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sony is moving in the wrong direction. We'll get to that later. Good old Sony. But yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about Nintendo. Just when I think that it's safe to praise Nintendo for all of the stuff
Uh,
that they've been doing, they always kick me right in the balls. And they're like, "Psych, thought you had a friend," and they do some
yeah.
stupid bullshit that just makes me want to just put them in a headlock.
Yeah.
So let's start with this article here. It says Nintendo is losing their identity, says former PlayStation executive Shuhei Yoshida. This is what he has to say. He's like, I have to be polite. I wanted to be polite, Yoshida began, noting that he had taken part in a live stream reacting to the Switch 2 reveal and had initially been careful with his
Oh,
words, as
man.
he should be, because it could backfire. Something I didn't say there. He then continued, to me, it was a bit of a mix of a message from Nintendo. In a sense, I think
Oh
Nintendo
my
is losing
gosh.
their identity, in my opinion. For me, they're always about creating some new experiences, like designing new hardware, games, and creating some new experiences. But the Switch 2, as we anticipated, is better than the Switch, right? It has a larger screen, more powerful processor, higher resolution, 4K, 120 FPS. They even had their hardware person starting to stream as well as other platforms do. And it's because of the Switch. The core premise of the Switch 2 is we made things better. And that something other what the heck, they did a typo there. That's something other companies have been doing all the time. So he's rambling.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. You know what I thought about this? I'm like mine, and I immediately saw this. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nintendo's goddamn identity. Nintendo has not had a fucking identity in, like every decade. Nintendo is not even like, look how far they are from what they were like 100 years ago. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean losing its identity? Like, get with the fucking times, bud.
yeah,
Like,
he's
yeah,
just
it's nothing like it is. There's no innovation, but there's no place to be innovative. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, like, it used to be huge hype thing. Oh, new Nintendo console, it was always new, it was always innovative, it was always different. Like, look at every console, look at every Nintendo console, look at every handout, look at how different they were. But once they got to the DS and they realized it can be a money printer by just reselling you an upgraded version 50 million times, that's when they got complacent. I think they
yeah.
became complacent with that, and a lot of it, I think, was especially the eShop. It was just so much easier. Like, that was also the turn towards digital. They didn't need to innovate and change when they could just resell everything. Sell you the same thing 50 times.
Honestly, honestly, I think that Nintendo became complacent when they came up with the Wii U. I mean, not with the Wii
Oh,
U, the
yeah.
Nintendo Wii, because they were following the whole casual crowd bullshit. Like they didn't care about the hardcore gamers like you and I.
Yeah, but
They
when
were
has
kid
Nintendo ever been hardcore? Really?
Nintendo, Super Nintendo.
Yeah, but
You
I
gotta go
mean,
all the way
I'm
back to
talking
that.
about yeah, but I'm talking about when when gaming became more mainstream. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That is true. Like, I mean, one thing I will say that Nintendo continues to do is that they do take their time when it comes to making their next console. They're not pushing out, like 3 years later, a new console because, like, you look at Sony and Xbox, well, whatever the hell Xbox is doing, you know, a lot of their systems don't even last past 5 years anymore before they come out with another one. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but
well, what?
yeah, but I mean like that in my opinion is much better than going than holding on to one piece of hardware for like 10 years and then that's holding back your entire development, your entire production, your entire potential just
Yeah,
because
but
you want this all in one that you can sell emulated versions of 50 other games. So essentially, you are still making money on old games and old IPs. I just think they became complacent.
yeah, that's true, but Nintendo has always done that. Like let's not forget that the Nintendo was still pushing games when the Super NES came out in '92. Like
Oh yeah.
they were still pushing, Rockman games, Mega Man games. I think it was like Mega Man 5 and 6 that came out on Nintendo. The Super Nintendo was already out then.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And they
you know,
honestly until we had like the Steam Deck come out, the ROG, like all like they also didn't have competition for quite a while either.
yeah,
Right?
I
They
mean,
also
because
didn't have competition at all. And their domestic market is insane. So like
that's
they
true.
don't even care half the time, like people aren't going to question it. People aren't going to speak up in the domestic market. So why the fuck do you care about, the international market when your money is being printed? And think how much they make off merch.
Yeah, that's true. And that is true though, because Sega they messed themselves up by putting out too much damn hardware at the same time, and
Yeah.
they just ended up screwing themselves. So they didn't really start to get competition until like what 1995, because the PlayStation came out in '94. We didn't have
Mm.
it here yet, so they didn't really start getting competition until the PlayStation took off, and then Sega came out with the Dreamcast, which was an underrated system. So
Yeah.
Nintendo kind of went unopposed for a
They
while
really
there,
did.
and the worst thing, as my granddad used to say, what's it called? Competition is a good thing. Because how are you supposed to know your limitations and what you need to perfect on and get better on if nobody ever challenges you on anything?
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like, and when you have nobody, like, I'm gonna use an example, WWE. I don't know if a lot of people are wrestling fans. When WCW and ECW went away, there was nobody to challenge WWE, and it became very boring, very bland, because they weren't trying anymore.
Yeah, that's like so many different monopolies. Like holy shit, that actually just came out. Like I just played the Inzoi early access, and it was so crazy because everyone's like, "Oh, EA isn't threatened. EA isn't threatened." And then apparently EA sent out a fucking survey to sim players asking them about Inzoi. That's what the survey was about. Because they have done the same thing. EA's done the same thing. Like that game has to be like 11 years old or something. And they have just consistently sat on the fact that there is no other life simulator. And all they're doing is giving you more and more DLC that you pay for a broken fucking mess. And then this gets released in early access. And when you see the quality of this game versus The Sims, like I do understand The Sims is still going to have a market in people who have low end PCs because Inzoi is fucking beautiful. But like seeing the two made it like such a stark contrast at how money grubbing EA has been. And that's what it is. If there's no competition, yeah, of course they're just gonna set, like, yeah, exactly. And it's like it's thousands of dollars for that. Like it's absolutely insane. And yeah.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that we've seen that, because look at Skyrim.
Yeah.
Look at how long they milked that thing. How long it took for them, and they talk about the Oblivion remake.
Yeah, they
Who
say they're
asked
gonna
for that?
announce that tomorrow. People are saying it's gonna be announced tomorrow.
Yeah, because their AI accidentally revealed it.
That's funny.
So but it's like, but I'm saying, like, they've been milking Skyrim and what is it, Fallout 4?
Yeah.
They milked those games for years, and I'm like, dude, like, do something else.
They can't. Everyone's limited.
I mean, if you're gonna be a one trick pony, if they're gonna do that, then how about just remaking Skyrim and make it better graphics and all of that stuff? Like, they
Yeah, they need
literally
to get rid of the because they had what the fuck? I can't even remember the name. The space one. Was it Starforge? I don't even know, but like they need a new engine so bad. They need a
yeah, they
new
do.
engine.
They do, because it's been stale for years. And one of
Starfield. Yeah, Starfield. Which one?
he
I
said
was thinking of something
wait,
completely different, but yeah.
wait, he says Star failed. Like,
Yeah,
he
I know,
put
but
that
it's
in
Starfield. But it's Starfield.
emulated nostalgia, man. That's funny.
Alright. Yeah.
But yeah, just resting on their laurels, and that's what happens. It's a combination of there just not being anything new, innovative that you can do, because it's already been done.
Exactly. We're kind of at a standstill for innovation right now.
Yeah, all they can really do is just put out games that have great stories. Anyways, though, So let's move on because we're still talking about Nintendo here. Now this I can see the ups and downs of it, but I just think that it's pretty stupid. It says Nintendo confirms that you will have to pay for the Switch 2 C button. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, the C button is to use voice chat.
Oh yeah.
So it says Nintendo has made its own Discord like chat app for the Switch 2, and it's gonna charge you for it. Once the free period is over, which is March 31st, 2026, game chat and the C button that activates it will require you to have the Nintendo Switch Online membership
Oh
in order
yeah.
for it to work. So
Huh.
it's saying that you will be able to find out about the NSO subscription there and get a sense of some of the functionalities. So you're gonna have to pay for voice chat,
Meh.
which if I mean the thing is, who else has to pay for that? Sony, you don't gotta pay for that. Xbox, you don't gotta pay for that. It just seems like Nintendo is charging us for everything. They're trying to nickel and dime us
I
on everything.
mean, it all depends. I can kind of see it. One, just having open chat. Yeah, fuck that. Like, that's a fucking creeper's dream. That's fucking creeper's dream. What it probably adds a lot more and because of that, it probably adds a lot more legal liability on the person paying for it. And two, honestly, I can't imagine the cost of hosting a voice server, like that many voice servers. I just can't.
I get what you're saying, but even still, because it's like, yeah, it is a predator's dream, but they'll pay for it. They'll pay for it to use it either way. But I'm just saying, like it's another feature that they're charging us for that they shouldn't be charging us for. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what's next? They're gonna charge us to do another profile on your Switch? Are they gonna start charging you? They're gonna start charging you to put up a background on your Switch. Just
Totally.
just mediocre stuff that you shouldn't be charging for. So it's like, so if you're a person that doesn't have the Nintendo Switch Online, you're shit out of luck. And I don't like that. I don't like that they lock stuff behind a paywall. I hate that.
It's on the Nintendo Switch Online? It's part of
Just
it?
Yeah, the
Oh
subscription.
yeah, then that makes sense. That makes sense. You're paying to use their servers.
Yeah, but if you don't have it, you can't do voice chat.
Yeah, and if you don't have active PlayStation Network subscription, you can't play online.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. You got me there. You got me there.
Yeah, it's not new. It's not new, but I think people are probably sensationalizing locking it behind a paywall because if it's part of the online thing, I can see that. Like you're paying for server usage, yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
I still don't think you should have to pay for voice chat, but I mean, it
Yeah.
is what it is. Welcome to the future, folks. So let's move on here. This is an article that Kelsey sent me, and I read through the whole thing, the statistics and everything, saying that almost 19% of Japanese people in their 20s have spent so much money on gacha games, like games like
Gachapon. Yeah.
Gachapon and like what's some of the games I can name, like
there's millions.
I forgot what the hell this it's
Oh my God.
one of these famous games that
Genshin Impact's mad.
yeah,
Mad
Genshin Impact.
Gacha. But that's Chinese. There's so many. There's literally so many.
They still spend a lot of money on it, and it's like they spend so much money they struggle to cover their living expenses. And they took a survey on it.
That's what happens when gambling's illegal.
It's insane.
That's the loophole. That's the thing. Like gachapon is it's illegal. Like gambling's illegal, so that's why they have like all these weird different games. And actually the best way I explain it this way. Um, you know, in the game corner in Pokemon, how you win coins and then you have to go next door to use the coins to get Pokemon and prizes? That's the loophole. So you will play these, so yeah, you'll play these games. Like, that's the loophole that they do in places where gambling's illegal. They technically, your prize is not money. You'll get tokens. Yeah, how pachinko runs. Yeah, anything. Anything, that's how it runs. Any of them. You'll go next door with your tokens, and this is a completely different business and a completely different establishment that just so happens to accept those tokens as currency, right? And that's, yeah, it's funny. I always explain it like it's easiest to explain through Pokemon. That's why it's in two different things. It's over
I
9,000
mean,
coins. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
you jogged my memory there because I haven't
yeah.
played Pokemon since 1998. So,
Yeah, but you
you know,
remember what
to
the, yeah, you know that the
I only
casino?
play I only played Blues. So yeah, I had to think
Yeah.
back for a second there.
Yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, anyway, just keep that in mind, yeah, with this thing.
Yeah, I want to read through some of this because they took exactly 1,000 participants from the age of 20 to 29, and it says surprisingly 18.8% of the participants said that they once spent so much money on in-game purchases that they couldn't cover the living expenses. And out of all the respondents, 23.9% admitted regretting to spending money on in-game transactions.
Yeah.
Buyer's remorse.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
crazy.
they have a graph here. So it's like it's saying all together it's like 82 81.2, but it says with men us 72.2%.
Yeah.
And then it says with the women it's 85.2%.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane. And
Yeah.
that's the number of people who can't afford the living costs.
Oh no,
That is
that's like
insane.
if you've ever played uh like if you've ever played any pay to win game, especially like MMOs and stuff that are usually like they're usually Eastern, especially with the like the cyber cafe culture over there too, where it's just like I'd rather pay money to grind because I don't have time because I'm working like 14-hour days. You know what I mean? Yeah, 50,000 token for a piece of plastic plate. Exactly. Stop. But sorry, my train of thought. Just ugh. Yeah, it's just that's it. Or you'll see it in mobile games too. It's like the top 10% of people who play mobile games, like who spend money on it, spend more than the bottom 90%. And those are the
Yeah.
people that are going into debt because it's that like at that point it's a gambling addiction, right?
Yeah, because you got people who spend thousands of dollars just on cosmetics.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even going to talk about people who pay to win, but you
Yeah.
just got people that just spend stuff like remember PlayStation Home, how much money people were spending in that
Yeah.
just to get
But
real
it's
money.
because it's loot boxes. That's the other thing though. It's like the loot boxes because like the random chance. That's the problem where it literally is gambling. It's not just okay, I'm going to buy like skin like oh I like this costume, I'm gonna drop $15 on this costume that I have forever. Oh, Beelzebub. Yes, Haley Beelzebub. I'm the Canadian devil. Anyways, but it's the ones that are like okay, here's this ultra special rare cosmetic that you really want, and it comes around like 3 times a year in a loot box that you will spend. You can either buy 5 loot boxes and you might get it, or you're going to spend like $900 just to get this. That's where people get addicted and ruin their lives.
And what
It's
makes
not
it
just games like that, yeah.
worse is that they make the percentages for these things so low that it's almost impossible to get it.
Yeah,
They're like,
exactly,
oh,
and at least a
it's like a
casino is regulated. At least the casino is regulated. At least I can take any money that I may win from that and take it with me and it's tangible and I can use it on something else. But this is just pixels on a screen, you know? And at least I know the odds. At least the odds are standard. Like at least it's regulated. At least if you go to a casino and you drop the amount of money that you would drop in if you went to the casino and dropped the amount of money that some people drop in mobile games, they would put you up in the fanciest fucking hotel. They would be feeding you like from 5-star restaurants. Like you would have a personal, like they would comp you everything just for wasting all that money. But no, it's just on a phone or it's just on a video game. Like, that's where it gets sickening, is that going and spending all of that money at a casino would actually net you more just through like, it's crazy. It's crazy to me.
it's a combination of addiction and people
Yeah,
just wanting to have the best things. And it's not like any of these cosmetics
yeah.
give you like any perks. It's just a piece of clothing.
Sorry, what did you say, Nostalgia? Was it EA or Activision that got that patent for a system that forced players to pay against people? Oh, man. Who had bought more? Oh, man.
That
I
was
have no
that was
idea.
that was Activision.
Was it patented? Was it just patented? Because, like, if you go, I've actually never realized, like, how protective so many IPs are. Like, there is a patent system you can look up, and especially for video games. And when you look up some of the patents, it's like, it's crazy what has been patented. You can't use it, and they've never used it. That was it. That's crazy.
Yeah, the original Xbox One explains all of that crap that they were trying to do to us.
Yeah.
You know, what a console had to be online all the time. You had to have the bullshit camera on all the time so that they can monitor what you're doing. Remember the limitations that they try to put on us, that you can't play at a friend's house for longer than an hour on your
Yep.
account?
Yep.
And I'm just like, man, it's ridiculous, man. It's just,
Yeah.
but the whole thing is like, look, at the end of the day, it's their money to do whatever the hell they want with it. It's stupid, but do whatever you want. My father always taught me to never live beyond your means. I don't spend money in video games. Like, I think the last time I bought something was like in Fortnite when I saw the Mortal Kombat skins. That was $10. That was it.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm good.
Like,
I
man,
got
yeah, I know. I was taught the fucking value of things for sure too. Like y'all don't know me. I am like insane budget. Like, you ever go, here's the biggest tip in the world, okay? People don't know this, but if you are insanely budget minded like me, if you go to the grocery store, you look at the price. Beneath it will be a number. It can be up to like 6 like decimal places. And then they'll say per 100 grams, per unit. Okay? I literally look at that and compare to see how much I am paying to get a better deal, okay? When I buy a video game, I go, how many hours of enjoyment can I get out of this? Right? You do not make money spending money like that, you know? But it's just, I can't justify that either. I can't justify like buying a whole bunch of like cosmetic DLC. I can't justify pre-order bonuses. I can't just pre-order bonuses are actually wild to me. Like sometimes I'll see like the deluxe edition of the game and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I don't need like this cosmetic item for like 20 more bucks. I don't need that.
Yeah, and it's never the same thing because what I found out earlier, earlier when GameStop came out, Like they would do like the day one DLC, but it would be different for every GameStop location. So everybody's getting something different.
Yep,
Not
I remember that.
everybody's, and I'm like, dude, like, come on, man.
Or when fighting games would have an exclusive character for every single like platform.
Yep, except Xbox because Xbox they always shit the bed when it came to
Yeah, I
that.
know they never got a licensed character or anything in there. Yes, I know, right?
Yeah.
That was
They're
crazy.
all guilty of that. Mortal
Oh,
Kombat,
they are.
and when they started getting the movie characters like Jason and Freddy Krueger, and they got
I can
Kratos
remember
from
Star
God of
Wars
War.
being in Soul Calibur 3. I think
Yeah,
Link was in it too.
yeah, that's true. But you didn't have to pay for that, did you?
No, but it was every console got a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so I believe what the Soul Calibur got linked because that was like the Nintendo version.
Yeah, I think they got Link, Darth Vader, and maybe Yoda. I can't remember, but yeah, I can remember there. And it's just like before, like in Soul Calibur 2, it was cool because the fighters from other games, it was ram shit like Yoshimitsu, right? Like Yoshimitsu was in Soul Calibur 2 on PlayStation 2. Xbox did get Yoda. Okay, yeah. Like Yoshimitsu was in but like he fits. He like fits. You know what I mean?
Yoshimitsu, he's from Tekken, right?
Yeah, he's from Tekken. Yeah, and he was in Soul Calibur too, but he fit into
Hmm.
it. You know what I mean? Like all the characters that they added from in Soul Calibur from like yeah, it just it fit. And then Soul Calibur 3, yeah, it was like that. Consoles exclusives. So was it 2? I think it was 3. Wasn't it? I swear it was 3. Yoshimitsu is in every Soul Calibur. I believe that. But yeah.
I thought it was 4 that they had that, and I thought it was Soul Calibur 4 that had those characters.
No, I know it's Soul Calibur 3 because I can remember being a teenager playing Soul Calibur 3. Yes, it didn't. Then I must have been playing. Was it
It had
2?
to
Holy
be.
shit.
I think it was
Oh,
Soul
4
Calibur
had
4.
Yoda. Okay. Okay, it was 4. 3 then okay. Okay, then I'm thinking of 3 and then we must have gotten 4 because 3 I do remember we all started creating characters, so we must have played 4 at some point. Soul Calibur was my shit growing up. Like
I
me and
played
all
I
my
played all of them.
Okay. Okay, so it was
I,
3 that okay. I got them mixed up because we did create a character in both of them. I remember now. Okay. Thank you.
I used to play as my girl Taki, like she was ill.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we always just had oh my god, I can remember that. We would all get together after school and there would be like 5 or 6 of us, but then there's that one kid who owned the game. So he would go home and oh my god, you just like it's like, "Oh, it's my turn." And everyone's like, "Okay, who wants to get juggled by Cervantes for 3 fucking for like 2
Oh,
rounds
he's
actually?"
oh that guy's fucking cheap.
Oh
Like
man.
I remember the
Eh,
first time I fought against him. It was a game called Soul Blade for the
yeah.
PlayStation. That's where those characters came from. But
Cervantes, yeah. Yeah.
Cervantes was so damn annoying. He was such a
Yeah.
damn cheater, dude.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
oh,
Yep. Like can just keep you in an infinite air juggle and you're just like, okay, just kill me. Like, just kill me. It's fine. I got my hands off the controller, man. Like, just go. You know, it's
oh,
like one of those, yeah. Soul Edge, yeah.
oh man,
Yeah.
and that's a memory unlock right there.
Yeah.
I used to play that game. Like I said, I played my girl Taki. I
Yeah.
would just rip through. When I get to Cervantes, like he would just hand me my ass
Yep.
every time I fought him.
Yep. 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 Absolute hell. I know.
Damn, you talk about an underrated fighting game. That was a good
Right?
game.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
I'll be right back if
yeah.
you want to continue this.
All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about Xbox for a second because let me put her on mute real quick so you guys can hear me. Um Xbox game purchases are finally coming to the Microsoft Android app. It says Microsoft shares that purchases in the Xbox app are now arriving in beta on both Android and iOS, with plans to soon extend that to everyone. In addition, full games, and you'll be able to buy full games and buy DLC, even sign up for the Game Pass. So you'll be able to do all of this stuff on mobile because, why am I even surprised at that? I'm not. This is pretty much like their whole thing that they was trying to do. It said that on its own, great news to finally get. But it's not only the facet of today's announcements, we're also learning that about the expansion program that Microsoft launched last year, which lets you stream not just Game Pass games, but also games you own. That was initially quite limited in terms of the games it supported. So now the games that you own on your Xbox itself, you'll be able to stream on your mobile. Which I guess I kind of talked about that when they were talking about the tablets and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Because look, I'm not going to knock it because people who can't afford to get these consoles these days, it's a good alternative. Like, say you got a cousin that has an Xbox and you can stream the games that he has, on your phone or something like that. So I see it as a good alternative. But if you're one of those types of people, for the 5 people in here that care about that kind of stuff, you're good. So there you go. What do you, anything to add about that?
No, not really. Not really. Seems about the way they're going with everything, right?
Yeah, I think that, like I said, even though that they're talking about, our next console and stuff, they're strictly a streaming service at this point.
Yeah, they
They're
really
just they're
are.
just they're just focusing on trying to get the Game Pass on everything possible.
Yeah, and then they're probably just gonna sell you something better to play Game Pass on.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I seen like an Xbox Tiger electronic watch that got the
Oh my
Game Pass on
lord.
it. Y'all remember those? Y'all remember those Tiger electronics things? Everyone had one of those things, man. And everybody,
I
your
remember.
your grandparents and parents will go out and buy these games with calculated graphics, and they think it's the same thing as having the game you actually wanted.
I remember those. I remember
Oh
those.
boy, yeah, we all knew it was shit, but everybody had one. Everybody had
Yeah,
at least one. Like I had Street Fighter 2. That junk sucked. Like it was garbage, man. You try to do a Hadouken with those types of cheap ass controls and the calculated graphics. And then
yeah,
they had the Tiger electronic watches. What I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that. You can't play it on the actual thing itself. What makes you think you could play on the watch?
right?
Yeah.
Probably can now,
Anyway,
but
terrible, man. Oh
yeah.
my god. Anyways, though, let's move on here. Y'all remember the last episode when I was talking about what is it, Niantic? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Y'all remember when I was talking about how they sold their gaming division for a lot of money in the last episode? Well, what they didn't tell us is that it was gonna include 68 employees being laid off.
Seems about right, I guess. So,
Yeah, it says Niantic laid off 68 employees after the sale of its game business to Saudi investment company Scopely last month. While the layoffs were already announced, the specific number of employees has now been revealed. As spotted by game developer, the Worker Adjustment and Restraints Notification Warn report published in California shows that at least 68 people will be losing their jobs. At Niantic, the layoffs were processed on March 20th and will now be carried out through May 20th.
that sucks. That's always what happens when a company gets bought out, though, and then gets cut up and shuffled around.
Yeah, and they give the classic answer that they always give. This comes just from the CEO John Hank. Announced that the company was split into 2 separate companies, one owned by Scopely and the other owned by Niantic, which focuses on delivering the promise of How the heck do you even pronounce that?
Geospatial.
Geospatial. That's sorry about that. Geospatial AI. Niantic has confirmed that the game developers that Hank announced were related to the Warren report, but had nothing else to do about the matter.
Hmm.
So basically, it was like, we just need to cut the dead weight.
Yeah. That's always what happens, though.
And it just sucks for people. Like when you hear about sales like this, it's good for the people that own a company, but when you're an employee of these companies, that you got to worry at something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, of course,
Because
yeah.
because when companies take over, they're gonna want to get rid of people and bring their own people in.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
it
exactly,
happens
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So and I feel bad for anybody losing their jobs, and I hope that these people can bounce back.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully their severance package is pretty good.
Yeah, they'll probably get some Pokemon
Honestly,
cards.
is Pokemon card. Honestly, it probably is though if it's a buyout, especially from a Saudi company. They probably actually did get a pretty good pay. That's honestly the pay severance from a buyout is probably better than the severance from a company. Like imagine the Ubisoft severance. All right, here's a lollipop.
Jesus Christ,
You
man!
know,
Can I at least have grape flavor at least?
here's a Dunkin' Donuts coupon that expired last year. Like, yeah.
Oh man. This just every time you turn around, it calmed down more now, but it's still every time you turn around, this company's laying off their people.
Yeah, like the Q1 was nasty. Like you can tell all the reports came in and they were like, "Oh, yeah, Q1
Yeah,
must have been nasty." I can't imagine the amount of panic in some companies.
I think they laid off enough people that the people that got laid off can create their own game companies.
Right? That's what I'm saying, right? That's enough of them.
And it's like, damn. It's like exodus of these video game companies. I don't think it's ever been this bad before. Anyways, though, let's move on here because we're still on the Xbox thing. New Xbox games canceled before release due to censorship.
Oh.
It sounds funny to me, but it says in a statement released on social media, developer City Connection shared that it has chosen to cancel its Xbox One versions of Steam Hearts, Saturn Tribute, and Advanced Verity Geo Saturn Tribute. Both games were originally released in the 1990s across PC, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn, which was a great console. It says, while popular, each game also featured erotic content that made the title controversial at the time of its arrival. While choosing to re-release Steam Hearts Saturn Tribute and Advanced, this is some long ass names, Advanced Variable Geo Saturn Tribute, City Connection acknowledged that both games feature provocative content, while changes are said to have been made in each game that allowed for their release on PlayStation, the Nintendo Switch, and the PC platforms. Those at Xbox are said to have continually requested changes to both games in order to greenlight them for launch. So Xbox just has issues, basically. Xbox is just like, you need to change this, you need to change this, you need to change this. You know what that
Well,
reminds me of?
I
That
mean, like
reminds
if
me of,
it's not going to sell.
yeah. And I mean, the thing is, it kind of reminds me of before the first Friday the 13th movie came out and all of the changes they had to do to the script because they wouldn't allow it.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's
but
like,
what year is this game from?
oh, this goes back, like I said, it said it was released across the 1990s for PC, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn. So it was in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, it was a different time too. I can
Yeah, it
see it.
was. Yeah, it says we would like to announce that we have decided to cancel the Xbox versions of Steam Hearts Saturn Tribute and the other long ass name that I keep having to read, which were under development and scheduled for release on Thursday, May 29th. The company wrote, due to the nature of each game being a revival of a work that contains provocative content. We have been developing these titles with the goal of providing a common gaming experience across multiple platforms. While each platform has its own standards, we have made adjustments to the content of the game, and recognize that we recognize the need to make significant changes to the expression of the game on Xbox. It was a difficult decision, but we have had to make this decision. We apologize to everyone. So they basically Xbox is just like it doesn't hold up to our standards. So they decided to cancel it. It sounded like they got pissed off to me.
That's fair.
Because, you know, and my thing is this, look, you know, I get it. You got games for everybody. I mean, you got all different types of games. You got provocative. Look, I'm playing Saints Row 3, the third. I didn't remember what the hell was in that game. That game was all kinds of crazy. And I mean, it's crazy. But, the thing is, it's like you got people who play all different types of games. So I don't like censorship unless it's something that's absolutely, like out there, like, man, what the hell? You can't put this out here, man. What the hell's wrong with you? You got games, especially from Japan, because they have a different sense of humor than we do.
Not just that. Okay, my biggest thing is from my take from this is that there is a difference between just like sexual content and whatever, but the fact that they called it erotic meant that it was for the player's pleasure. Okay, and that like this entire time this is hearing it, I'm seeing like, okay, like I get that. It's not just like haha titties. It's like it is there for the and that's the separation. Like I think that's gross. Like go touch grass, man. You know what I mean? I don't want that in my games. Like when you can clearly tell that someone thought this up and made it with like one hand. Yeah, I don't want that. Like cut that out. Go ahead. Right? And that's what I mean. Right? Like you can have what you want, but like do it in your own home, in your own
true.
darkness. Like I just like I don't like that kind of degeneracy. I think it's kind of weird. So like it's just I get it. I get it.
I really don't care for that stuff either. But I'm just saying, if people want to play that stuff, then they could spend their money on whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, but it just like sets a precedent. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they described it as erotic content, not sexual content, which means that that's the like that changes the meaning of what the game's intent was.
Yeah,
so that's why I think it's fine. That's why I think it's like, yeah, I understand why they wouldn't want that on there.
Yeah, those types of games like are all over Steam.
Yeah.
Like you
Steam
see,
doesn't care.
Yeah, they'll put anything up there.
Oh yeah, Steam doesn't care. But I just have it blocked on Steam. I can filter it out on Steam.
Like when I'm trying to find new games and stuff, like horror games and stuff, like I just go through the list and look at what's out there.
Yeah. I just have certain things turned off. I just have them censored. You can censor it per whatever, and yeah, I don't know. I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean when Mortal Kombat first came out, like that amount of gore and all of that stuff that was going on, that was new back then.
Yeah.
But I was like, even back then when I was a kid, because that was 1992. I was 6 years old. And even back then, I was like, look, I'm like, if people want to play a game where you rip people's hearts out and all that stuff, I mean, who am I to tell them not to play that stuff?
Yeah. Do it in your own home, Or you do in your own home's fine. But I can understand a company not wanting to host stuff like that.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. This is, it's an image thing. Like, can you imagine Nintendo promoting stuff like that?
Nintendo does. Go to their eShop. It's nothing but perv games. That's what I'm saying. Sony and Nintendo switch places. Oh, yeah. You go to their eShop, it's nasty in there. Yeah. Nintendo's absolutely, it's actually crazy how Nintendo and Sony switch places. They really did. They completely Yeah, no, it really is, like, Nintendo does not care anymore, and Sony fucking censors everything. Isn't that crazy? Like, that was one thing that yeah, when I was talking about they lost their identity too, like, yeah, they just put any old slop on there. Don't take the piss out of their game yeah. They mentioned that, yeah, no, it actually is. Like, it's fucking wild. It's
Mm.
fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean that's insane. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep,
had no idea about that. And
yep,
yeah, but
yep,
I can definitely understand because, like I said, when you're going to put your product on stuff, you got to go by the company that's willing to offer you money. If they say, "Hey, we want this changed," you got to change it.
yeah,
I mean, remember Manhunt? Remember they refused to change that stuff,
yep.
and it was bad. It was banned for years.
Apparently Manhunt caused, like, so many fights within EA, like, within the like wait, Rockstar, sorry. Not EA, Jesus fuck. I'm getting them all mixed up. What's the difference anymore? But apparently, like, Manhunt itself caused, like, fights and controversy between the
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
I mean, that's not the first time that did that because Grand Theft Auto San Andreas also caused fights.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had a lot of people who are very uncomfortable, like putting my people in the game, like how to portray my people in the
Yeah.
game, and
Yeah.
they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many controversies, and I think it comes down to intent. Once again, it comes down to intent, right? Like, it's like, okay, and that's like and I can see that with Manhunt, like, that's such a because, like, you're just killing people, and even in the game plot itself, like, in the first one, you're literally making snuff film. There's no qualms about it that the intent and I know it's supposed to be a meta commentary upon itself, but, like, Rockstar did it in such poor taste, in my opinion. Like, I feel like probably nowadays, they could probably get away with it, but the way that they did it back then, there was no real standard for cruelty in games. Like, now there's, like, some intense, like, scenes in games that you are, like, actively doing, but nothing like, I think it was just a bit trashy for the time. Fun? Yes, it is fun, but I think a big part of it is intent because it's like Grand Theft Auto, yeah, you go around and you run and you shoot people, but, like, the main point of the game is not killing people in horrific ways. It's not the intent of the game, so people can argue that, yes, that is the point of the game. The point of the game is to but it's not like, that's completely, like, subjective. But Manhunt is literally about killing people, and you have to for a snuff porn director. That's what I mean by people kind of I understand the right to give it like, it's because it's the intent. It's the intent of it, and then that also goes back into once again, yeah, I guess Manhunt is supposed to be a commentary upon itself, right? But, yeah, it morals and ethics in video games is actually fucked. I could go on about it forever, but I think it just comes down to it is really the intent of games, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've always been of the impression, like, I mean, just killing just for the hell of killing. I mean, that is kind of fucked up because it's like, yo, there's no story behind it. You're just
Yeah.
mutilating people in the worst
That's
ways possible.
exactly, and then the more brutal the deaths, the more points you get. That is where it's like, okay, I see what part the player is supposed to get enjoyment out of. So and when
Yeah.
when the main focus of what part of the game you're supposed to get enjoyment out of is something like that, where people can definitely point and have an opinion rather than going back and forth, then yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the games like the Splatterhouse games and how fun
Yes.
those were. Yeah, you were
Yes.
playing a killer and stuff, but
Yeah, exactly.
it had other things with it that made them good games. Like this is
Y-
literally just killing.
Yeah, I know. Like you were literally just torturing, killing. Yes.
You
Yes.
know, so and I could definitely understand why parents would be like, we don't want our kids to play games like this because,
Yeah.
it's just a game about killing. Like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways, though, this one is funny. I think this set a new record. It says days after launch in early access, this new Steam game is shutting down. Literally a couple of days. Studio Chaff,
Never
Studio
had a
Chafe.
chance.
Yeah, they never did. It says Studio Chaff has announced that it is shutting down its debut game,
His
Vallev?
debut game. Valev?
Vallev. It says days after it launched on
Not even
early
a
access
chance.
April 9th. It says, as some of you have already noticed, we aren't able to reach the point where we needed to continue supporting and servicing Vallev. The developer team said
Man.
in a statement, despite our best efforts, we couldn't secure the investment we needed from the VCs and the large partners with limited options. We made the decision to launch in early access, hoping for the best. In other words, they were broke as a joke. They didn't have the money to continue it,
Yeah,
so
but
they
what
shut it
kind of
down.
game was it, Ken?
It
What
was
kind of game was it?
it's a mobile style game.
Yeah, no
So
shit. Like 10, 15 nearly years too late. Nearly 15 or more. Probably like
it was
15 years late. This is what yeah, okay. See what like at this point it's like you really like oh my god, like I'm going to be the
yeah
next Fortnite. Okay,
yeah it's
guy.
yeah. I'm looking at the game here. It's a PvP or PvE type of game. It kind of looks like an off brand of like Diablo, like an isometric style game,
Yeah, it's a
which we
MOBA. Oh god.
it says that it's transitioning into a free to play model with all the purchases being fully refunded, which is a good thing. So if you spent money in early access, you'll be able to get your money back. Hopefully they come through with that. How you gonna do that when you ain't got no money?
Good lord.
It says while the game servers will be shut down, so they're gonna transition it into a free to play model, and then they're gonna shut it down. But
Yeah.
they didn't choose a specific date as
They're
of yet.
they're just holding out right now like please someone invest. Please take one final
Better,
look.
better start a Kickstarter
Right?
and hope for the best.
Right?
But that does kind of suck though because you put all your money into creating a project and then you just don't have the financial backing. That's a lot of work that went away.
Yeah.
And it's not easy making video games, especially this company. I never even heard of them before, so they like literally said this was their first game and they already failed.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Does that does that require a trombone?
Yes. They tried. They tried.
Oh boy, now we get to the political part, folks.
Yeah.
I'm not really a political guy, but we can't dodge this with these
Yeah. We can
tariffs.
get through it quick though.
We got to talk about these tariffs and how it's going to affect video gaming. So that's as far as I'm going to go. For those of y'all who don't know what tariffs are, it says the new U.S. administration is starting to impose tariffs on physical goods coming into the U.S. from other countries. That means that companies importing products into the U.S. will have to pay extra fees, and the size of those fees will be depending on both the country they're coming from and the types of goods. So that's what a tariff is. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because this clearly affects video games.
Yeah.
It says on April 2nd, President Trump proposed a series of tariffs on the numerous company. Sorry, let me try again. Sorry. proposed a series of tariffs on numerous countries. Vietnam, where some of the Nintendo Switch consoles are made, which was hit by a 46% tariff. Japan, where Nintendo Switch games are manufactured, was hit with a 24% tariff. Other key territories where these products are made include Taiwan, which received a 32% levy, and Cambodia, which was hit with a 49% rate. This US proposal prompted Nintendo to delay pre orders of the Nintendo Switch 2, as would be a major impact upon its profitability of the console. And it says a week later, on April 9th, the day the tariffs were meant to go into effect, President Trump announced a pause on tariffs for 90 days, giving countries a chance to negotiate and either reduce the tariffs or remove them entirely, except for China. So, in other words, you got these countries that pretty much make everything that we have here, cars, they make our clothes, they make our games. And they have to pay extra fees. And I read somewhere that Apple, they sent out a gang of phones before this thing even went into effect, just to try to get their shipment here.
Apple moved domestic, I think. I think Apple moved domestic. I don't know. Good day to be Canadian. Nostalgia's like, good day to be British. Expects like, good day to be Brazilian. But everyone else here, non-Americans, like, it's a good day. Sorry, Haley. It's all right. No, it's crazy. Like I don't even want to get into it, but like even China, China is now importing all their oil from Canada. You know? But like everything's gonna go up, yeah. Like it will still affect, like Canada will still get affected, and a lot of other places that have any port of entry and stuff, but like yeah, it's gonna be rough manufacture-wise. I know a lot of places are moving domestic again, but man,
yeah, this is gonna be one hell of bullshit that we're gonna have to go through. Things are gonna be much more expensive. And don't think for one second that these companies out here won't take advantage of that. Nintendo's already doing it. Like they already started that bullshit excuse when they put out when they were talking about Mario Kart World. They were using the tariff as an excuse, which it wasn't even in effect yet.
Yeah, well, I would future proof that though, because especially it depends. Like even if it's not out yet, it's still their production is still going.
Yeah. Now the good thing is, when it comes to the tariffs, and I'm just talking about specifically about electronics, PCs and smartphones are exempt. So if you're a PC gamer or you have a computer, you don't have to worry about that. So we'll still be able to get what we need for the PCs. But if you're a console gamer, you're shit out of luck. That means that because we're going to get into that in the last portion. These companies are already, like Sony and Xbox and all of them, they're already raising the prices of their consoles. Like everything is going sky high because of this thing. So if you're someone who's a console player, be prepared to pay an extra $200, extra $100, or it could even be an extra $300 if you want to get consoles.
Yeah, it's already like that in Canada. Nothing new to me.
It's gonna be worse for you guys.
Why? We're shifting to other manufacturers and domestic. We're gonna be fine over the long term. The U.S. has absolutely destroyed huge relations for many generations. Like my country will recover. Like I said, like we're already, like China already said, fuck the U.S. Yeah, Spike says same as Brazil. We're going to recover because we're just going to trade with everyone else. The US is fucked because no one's going to want to trade with the US. That's the thing. Eventually our countries will recover, but that's one thing that's going to be interesting is that the US has now destroyed an insane amount of its relationships with countries it trades with. So we're gonna go find, yeah, like we'll be fine eventually. We'll feel it, but I'm not sure about the US now. Because once everyone else finds new trade partners, what's going to make them be like, yeah. So I'm wondering about it. Yeah.
And the thing is with that,
Yeah.
circling back around is it says ultimately a drop in game hardware sales will impact video game sales, which will hurt game development. That will hurt the gaming development scene globally, including the US, which is responsible for some of the world's biggest video games. So,
Gonna have a
th-
rise in Euro jank.
so this is really could really get bad. This is going to get nasty for the video game companies, especially if your console and the price of video games is going to start to go up. Like, trust me when I tell you, it's not going to be fun.
I've already gone up here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
speaking of Canada, that's a good transition. That I'm going to move on to the PS5 because it says that a second price hike in less than 3 years. The new console is more expensive than the Nintendo Switch in multiple regions. As of today in the UK, the digital edition costs €429.99, up by €49 from the previous
That one's pounds.
£389.99.
Wait,
Pounds? I'm sorry.
429 pounds? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I said euros, right?
Yeah, I can see it has pounds in it. Okay, never mind. This thing has like 3 different types of currency, sorry.
Yeah, it said this had already gone up from its launch price of $359.99. It says the same console costs $499.99 in Europe, an increase of 50, and then it says $749 in Australia, which is $100 price increase. And then you got I believe what's that, New Zealand,
Yeah.
NZD. New Zealand is $859,
None of
$859.99.
none of these places surprise me. These are all places whose economies are starting to like none of this surprises me. Like the exchange rate on all of these countries, like you were talking about Canada, like we're like what 1.4 now? Like, yeah, no fucking shit. But like this actually shows a huge sign because regional adjustments and price hikes used to be only for very weak like countries with very weak economies. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like used to be only for very weak economies. Turkey used to get absolutely obliterated by VPNs and stuff. Yeah. So the fact that this is coming to these countries, oof.
Yeah, it's saying
Yeah.
the standard consoles now cost $829.95. That is insane. New
Yeah.
Zealand $949. And I'm just like, who can afford that?
No one.
Nobody can afford that. And it's like, you're literally why?
Just so you can
And it's
buy
like,
another one in 5 years?
yeah. And the thing is with that, it's just like you read some of these companies, like the Nintendo. Somebody that worked at Nintendo, I think it was the president that said, "Oh, we realized that there are going to be some people that can't afford our console." No shit, dumbass.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yep.
well, it's the Nintendo Switch is not for everybody. So in other words, you're basically saying it's not for people who can't afford it.
Well, I
That's
mean,
basically what they're saying.
well, yeah, I mean, it is a luxury item.
That's
You don't
true.
need it to live. It's not like they're saying we understand that some people cannot afford bread or something. You know what I mean? At least at the very least they're not saying, we understand that like a majority of people cannot afford to eat them can not afford to feed themselves. So now try Soylent Green, you know.
Yeah, well,
Like video games
if
are
you,
a luxury. And that's why, free to play games are popular. That's why mobile games like being able to afford a new game and like so many different things. Like just it's a luxury,
and this
and
this is
that's why
this
there's
is
so many
why
different tiers.
And this is why emulation will never go away, folks.
Exactly.
You know,
Emulation
but
piracy. Yep.
yep, it will always be around because you'll always have people that would, that can't afford it, so they have to
Yeah.
figure a backdoor way in.
Exactly.
We're
Yeah.
still on the we're still on the subject of Sony. It says Sony increased the PlayStation Plus prices in 20 countries following the PS5 price hike. It says then on April 16th, some of the PlayStation subscribers in Canada reported getting emails from Sony announcing a price increase too. Here are some of the price increases for Canada for each services for 3 tiers. The essential 12-month subscription is $110, which was previously $95. The extra 12-month subscription is $190, which was previously $155. And the premium 12-month subscription is $225, previously $190. And that's y'all's money.
Yeah, and do you know how much that is in Canadian
That's
US
your money.
dollars? Do you know,
How much
or
is
in
that?
US dollars? 110 Canadian is about $80 American. The $225 premium 12-month subscription is $160 USD.
Damn.
Yeah, our exchange.
For
That's what I'm saying by we're like, you guys get ready because it's your turn to start getting these prices. I haven't, like, everyone's like $80 for a video game, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, like most AAA games now are at least $100. Like you're like you guys are playing, like you guys are paying $80. That's 2010 prices. Like,
Well, actually,
yeah.
if you go back to the 90s with the Super Nintendo stuff, even the Super Nintendo cartridges were costing around that much.
Yeah, but
They-
in the
they-
90s, we used to go to America because it was cheaper to shop in America.
yeah.
You know, like your dollar was weaker back then. So wild.
Yeah, well, just letting y'all folks know I am a
Wow.
good I am a good American. So you can like me.
Oh, we're not. I don't blame. I don't blame people for the fucking for the acts of their leaders. That's what they want. That's the game. Never will I hate for what someone's country has done. Fuck that. Don't worry, Ken.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to touch on that because like I
Yeah.
said, it's affecting the video game world and we gotta give y'all the video game news, whether it's bad, whether it's good, whether it's controversial. That's why the show is called Hot Takes, folks.
Yeah.
I wasn't cooking muffins one day and burned my hand and just said, "Hey, let's call the show Hot Takes."
Yeah.
That would be a funny story, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, that is it. We're at the end of our notes here. Thank you to everyone that showed up for episode 27. We will be back in a few weeks for episode 28.
28? Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, and I just want to let y'all know in my chat, I did create a redeem for like if you guys want to come on and do a small conversation with us, like kind of pipe in and give your take on some things. I did create, if you look under your beard bro points, there is a redeem for that. So we're still working things out, but we're gonna start taking callers soon. And we're not long conversation, it'll be like maybe like 5 minutes, something like that, so the show doesn't go like 6 hours.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
So when you redeem, if you have a point that you wanna get across, you can always redeem your points and I'll pipe you in and we can talk about it. So I'm working out the details with that. Anyways, though, thank y'all for coming by. I will be back streaming tomorrow for Resident Evil Tuesdays. When we come back and play some more it's not Ada's separate ways, it's Kidman's separate ways. Go back and watch the video to find out about that.
Yeah, and tomorrow, oh man, we have to restart Grounded. Well, we're not gonna restart, we're gonna do chapter. Cause man, that's a long game. That is a
Should.
long game, I'm telling you. So we will do that tomorrow. I will be back as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you to all of y'all. You guys have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Kelsey, it is always a pleasure.
Thank you, Ken.
All right. Y'all
All
take
right.
care.
See you guys later.